You know that feeling, right? You're scrolling and scrolling through your phone, desperately looking for that one photo. You can see it perfectly in your mind, but you can't find the right words to actually search for it. It's a frustration we all share. But what if I told you that a new kind of AI is learning to search for images the same way we remember them? And no, this isn't sci-fi. It's a massive shift in how we talk to our tech, and it all kicks off with one really simple question.
And this is it. This is the whole ball game. You don't remember a file name like img_8752. Of course you don't. You remember the big green chair to the left of the fireplace with your dog sleeping in front of it. You remember relationships, concepts, feelings. So why, after all this time, are we still stuck talking to our devices with these simple, kind of clunky keywords?
I love this quote because it just nails the problem. We all have these incredibly rich, detailed pictures living inside our heads. The real challenge, and what we're going to dig into today, is how we can finally build a bridge between our complex mental images and the super simple queries a computer can actually understand.
Okay, so let's break down why this is so dang hard. At its core, it's because computers don't see an image the way we do. We see a sunset, we see a family, we see a story. A computer? It just sees a giant grid of pixels, a bunch of data points for color and brightness. Sure, it can find patterns in that data, but it doesn't get the meaning, you know? It doesn't get the context that we see instantly. And this is a huge piece of the puzzle. The powerful AI we use every day, the stuff based on neural networks, is absolutely incredible at pattern recognition. It can spot a cat in a million photos, no problem. But it often works like a black box. It can't tell you why it thinks that's a cat, and it definitely can't understand that the cat is sitting on top of a fence. It's missing that whole layer of logical, explainable reasoning. It's powerful for sure, but it's an incomplete way of seeing the world. And that whole black box issue, it pops up everywhere, especially in the two main kinds of search systems we bump into every day, which, by the way, are built for totally different jobs.
So yeah, we're basically dealing with two different beasts here. On one side, you've got the giant discovery engines like Google, which are designed to cast a super wide net using simple keywords. On the other side, you have these more powerful retrieval engines for specific, curated collections, maybe inside a big company. But here's the kicker. Look at the bottom line. For all their differences, both of them still fundamentally choke on that human-style descriptive query. They're just not built to think the way we do.
And this brings us to a key concept, something called the semantic gap. It's basically the official fancy name for that frustration we've been talking about. It's this massive canyon between the rich, contextual meaning in your head, you know, that funny photo of my cousin wearing a silly hat at the beach, and what the computer actually gets from your search, just the words cousin, hat, beach. It misses all the nuance, all the relationships, all the meaning.
But what if we could actually bridge that gap? This is where things get really, really exciting. A hybrid approach is emerging, and it's called Neuro-Symbolic AI. And trust me, it's a completely different way of building an AI brain.
At its heart, Neuro-Symbolic AI, or NESI for short, is basically a best-of-both-worlds situation. Instead of just relying on that raw pattern matching power, it fuses it with the kind of logic and rules-based reasoning that's been a part of AI for decades. It's like giving the AI both intuition and a rulebook. It's the part that understands a simple rule, like an object can't be both above and below something else at the exact same time.
I love this analogy because it makes it so clear. Think of it like giving the AI two halves of a brain. On one side, you have the intuitive artist. That's the neural network. It's brilliant at just seeing the raw data, the textures, the colors, the shapes. But then you pair it with the logical scientist, the symbolic part, which understands the rules, the context, the relationships. The scientist knows that a car usually belongs on a road, or that a cup sits on a table.
And when you put those two halves together, well, something pretty amazing starts to happen. You get an AI that doesn't just see pixels anymore. It actually starts to comprehend the scene. It understands not just what's in the image, but how all those things relate to each other. You know, just like we do. Okay, so let's get practical. Researchers have taken this neuro-symbolic idea and built a new system specifically to solve this problem. It's called HORSE, which stands for Human-Oriented Retrieval Search Engine. Let's take a look at how it puts all these ideas into action.
The process here is actually super intuitive when you see it laid out. First, step 1, the neural network part does its thing. It identifies every single object in the photo. Then step 2, it pulls out their properties, color, size, texture, all that good stuff. But now, here's the magic trick. Step 3, the symbolic part comes in and maps the relationships between them. The person is standing to the left of the blue car. Finally, step 4 builds a search index based on this rich relational map, not just a boring flat list of tags. And what's really cool about this is that Horse starts to build a kind of common sense. By looking at tons and tons of images, it learns what's normal. It figures out that buildings are usually bigger than people, and that the sky is almost always at the top of an outdoor picture. This contextual knowledge makes its understanding of every new image that much smarter.
Now, as incredible as this all is for finally finding your vacation photos, the impact of this kind of human-centric AI is so much bigger. I mean, this is really about changing how we interact with our technology at a super fundamental level.
I mean, just look at some of these potential applications. For design, an AI that understands what's normal could instantly spot mistakes in architectural plans. For accessibility, imagine it generating these incredibly rich, useful descriptions of images for visually impaired users. It could help artists find inspiration or students find diagrams based on deep concepts, not just shallow keywords. The possibilities are huge.
At the end of the day, what this all really means is a complete role reversal. For decades, we've had to learn the computer's language, the language of keywords and file names and tags. Now, the computer is finally starting to learn to speak our language, the language of context, of relationships, of human memory.
And that leaves us with a pretty mind-blowing thought to wrap up with. For so long, we've had to adapt ourselves to the limits of our own machines. But as that starts to flip, you have to ask yourself, what becomes possible then? What are we going to create when our technology finally sees the world not just as data, but the same way we do?